Good evening, everybody. Nice to see people in the audience. Nice to have the public here. And for the record, it's Thursday, April 28th, 2022. I've called a meeting to order. We always start with a pledge to our flag. So, Council Member Cuevas.
All right, Your Honor, please
sir.
rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Council Member Cuevas.
Welcome, sir.
For the council members in the audience, a little change of the way that council normally does business. Your legislature has changed the Open Public Meetings Act laws. So we are required to take public testimony prior to consent items or any other sort of item on your agenda. So that will change for us. Other things will be changing as you move downstairs. We think committee meetings are going to be more public and have people be able to call in forever. So, but one of the things we've changed now is the fact that we need to take public comment prior to adopting the consent items. So, but what I will do this evening, because we do have, we've had a lot of discussion about our scooter agreement with Bird Rides. I will accept public comment during action item number D. But for anybody who wishes to address the council on any other item that isn't item D tonight, this would be the time that we would give you some time to come up and address the audience. We'd give you 3 minutes or so and ask for your name and address for the record. Any takers who want to talk about anything other than bird scooters? All right, then we will move on to our consent items, which includes this evening's agenda, the vouchers and minutes of the previous meeting, and appointing the mayor as a voting representative to the Town Toyota Center Board. So I would entertain a motion for the consent items.
Your Honor, I'd make a motion that we approve the consent items consisting of this evening's agenda, vouchers and minutes from previous meetings. Also to approve Resolution 2022-15 designating the mayor as a voting representative on behalf of the city to the governing board of the Greater Wenatchee Regional Events Center Public Facilities District.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Kulas, second by Councilmember Cuevas, to approve this evening's agenda, vouchers, and the minutes from our previous meetings, and to adopt Resolution 2022-15 designating the mayor as a voting representative on behalf of the city to the governing board of the Greater Wenatchee Regional Events Public Facility District. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. I guess I should do roll call since I didn't do roll call. Travis, is that you on the phone?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Travis, how are you? All right, for roll call, we have all of our council members here and Travis is on the phone. You see, Tammy changes the order and I can't adopt. All right, so we have 3 presentations tonight. The first is regarding Poppy Days. So, Councilmember Kulas, do you have that?
Yes, I do. Whereas the American Legion each year sponsors throughout the state of Washington a campaign for the distribution of crepe paper poppies, and whereas all proceeds from the distribution will be used for the benefit of the men and women now serving in all armed forces, needy war veterans, the orphans and widows of deceased veterans, and whereas this charitable drive will enable all citizens to show their gratitude to servicemen and women and have a part in contributing to the assistance rendered to the needy and disabled war veterans and their families. Now, therefore, I, Frank J. Kuntz, Mayor of the City of Wenatchee, do hereby proclaim the month of May as Poppy Days in the City of Wenatchee, and I urge all citizens to support this worthy cause by wearing the poppy during this period. In witness whereof, I hereby set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Wenatchee to be affixed on this 28th day of April, 2022. Frank J. Kuntz, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Kulas. Who's our Poppy girl? Come on up. You gonna come up here and sit down? Got something to read to the council, I hope? Sit down. Can I sit next to you?
Yeah.
All right. I don't bite.
Hard.
Hard.
Get that mic up.
Yeah, get right up there where you can talk right in there because everyone at home can hear you.
Hello, Mr. Mayor and council members. My name is Madeline Brown, and I am the American Legion Poppy Princess for the 2022. I am 10 years old and attend Mission View School. My grandparents and uncle are Navy veterans. I'm here to distribute poppies made by veterans in VA hospitals for a donation to veteran programs across the country. The poppy is a symbol of honor and remembrance. It bloomed on the battlefields and graves in France in World War I. Colonel
I help you, but I didn't bring my glasses. Colonel.
John McCrae wrote about them in his poem, In Flanders Field. In the words of American Legion National President General Ryan in 1966, let every American wear a memorial poppy this month, and let everyone pause, if only for a moment, on Memorial Day to honor those have given their lives that we may be free. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was awesome. You did a great job. So we need to go find all of these lovely people up here. And we'll put a poppy. Not sure where to wear it. We'll let her do her work first.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madeline. You did a great job.
Great job. Thank you.
We'll have her get Keith and then we'll get a picture and then.
Thank you very much. Great job.
All right, so now you gotta get your picture taken. Over here first. There we go. Oh, over here. Well, thank you for being here. Colonel's a hard word, right? I didn't learn that until I was like 40. And make sure you work the room. There's lots of other people over here that want to donate to your cause, okay? Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right. And while she's working the room over there, we'll go ahead and do a next couple proclamations. So Councilmember Harold, you have one regarding childcare, National Provider Appreciation Day.
Yes, I do. Thank you. Whereas cities, counties, and organizations nationwide are recognizing child care providers on National Provider Appreciation Day, May 6, 2022, and whereas over half the children under the age of 6 nationwide are estimated to spend some time in a non-parental care arrangement on a weekly basis, which provides critical enrichment opportunities and nurtures development for children of all backgrounds and is a vital building block of our state economy. And whereas the COVID-19 pandemic continues to create tremendous hardship for child care providers and the families of Washington who depend on them, forcing providers to risk their health and financial stability to remain open throughout the shifting COVID-19 health guidance. And whereas child care providers continue to provide essential high-quality early learning experience to Washington's children on the face of irregular and long hours, high turnover rate in child care businesses, and increasing stressful working conditions due to the impact of burnout, COVID-19, and other workforce-related complications. And whereas our future depends on the quality of the early childhood experiences provided to young children today, support for high-quality child care represents a worthy commitment to our children's future. Now, therefore, I, Frank J. Kuntz, Mayor of the City of Wenatchee, hereby proclaim May 6, 2022 as National Child Care Provider Appreciation Day and urge all citizens to recognize child care providers for their important work. In witness whereof, I have caused the seal of the City of Wenatchee to be affixed on this 6th day of May, 2022. Frank J. Kuntz, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Harold. Is Gloria here? We'll make sure we get this to her. And our last proclamation today is Stand with Ukraine. Keith, do you have that one?
I do, Your Honor.
Councilmember Huffaker.
Proclamation, Stand with Ukraine. Whereas Ukraine proclaims independence from the Union of Soviet Russia in 1991, adopted its constitution in 1996, and has been a fully independent country and home to 44 million citizens led by a president elected by the people. And whereas on February 24th, 2022, Russian military forces conducted an unprovoked invasion of Ukraine, resulting in the destruction of cities and towns and over 2,300 civilian casualties, forcing hundreds of thousands of civilians to flee and blatantly violating international law. And whereas the people of Ukraine have been caught in the middle of this invasion, creating over 4 million external refugees and 6 million internal displacements, and millions in need of urgent humanitarian assistance. And whereas the invasion of Ukraine and attacks against its people have been broadly condemned by the United States President, leadership of the European Union, Great Britain, and other countries around the world. And whereas the city of Wenatchee is home to a robust and thriving Ukrainian community, and whereas our Ukrainian neighbors are experiencing pain, hardship, and grief due to the aggressions in Eastern Europe. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Frank J. Kuntz, Mayor of the City of Wenatchee, do hereby ask the residents of Wenatchee, Washington, to join us in expressing support for the people of Ukraine, and to join us in expressing support and for those in our community with Ukrainian roots who are especially concerned for the well-being of their loved ones. And now, therefore, I, Frank J. Kuntz, Mayor of the City of Wenatchee, proclaim that the City of Wenatchee stands in solidarity with our Ukrainian neighbors, as well as the people of Ukraine, as they bravely defend their country, their freedoms, and their lives. In witness whereof, I have caused the seal of the City of Wenatchee to be affixed on this 28th day of April, 2022. Frank J. Kuntz, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Huffaker. Alma, you back there? Come on up. Hey, Alma, how are you? Nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
This for you. So tell us what's going on, because I know we have some refugees in our community, so.
Absolutely,
What's happening?
absolutely. There are several groups in our community that are working to support our Ukrainian population in Wenatchee and in East Wenatchee, kind of everywhere. We meet the first and third Wednesday of every month as a coalition, a community services coalition. We have about 50 nonprofit organizations and service providers. And as a group, we decided that we wanted to support the Ukrainian people. So we put this resolution together. And so some of the members of the coalition are with me here today in solidarity with the Ukrainian people. We're very honored that our mayor is supporting this proclamation. So I know that I personally, when I watch the news in the morning, watching all the children, the schools, the kindergarten classrooms, a town, a country being demolished, it's just heartbreaking. And to know that we're here just watching it makes me very sad. So we wanted to show in some way that we are in support. So I thank all of you for being here. Thank you, Mayor Kuntz.
Thank you, Alma. Yeah. Oh, yes. Who am I looking at? Oh, looking at me first? Okay. I should have known it was Linda. Oh, here, one more. Gotta get on the city's Facebook page. Thank you very much. Thank you. Nice to see you again. And it is my understanding we do have some Ukrainian refugees in our community as we speak, and we may have another 100, 150 coming our way. So I know the county has got some commerce money to help with that, but they're coming our way. All right, action items. We got a number of them this evening. The first one is regarding office hours.
Yes, good evening, Mayor
Paige,
and
what's up?
council members. Carrie Page, Director of Human Resources. I'm here this evening to ask for a motion for the City Council to adopt ordinance number 2022-06. It is an update to current departments and current business hours. And this came about in researching the new Juneteenth holiday that came about, recognized as a state holiday. Discovered that the code needed to be updated, not to include the holiday. It is already included as a covered holiday or a recognized holiday with this policy or the code. This was just more an update to the hours and departments.
All right, nice catch when you were in there doing that. Any questions for Carrie? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion for the City Council to adopt ordinance number 2022-06, amending section 1.10.1020 of the Wenatchee City Code relating to office hours of certain city offices.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Poyer, second by Councilmember Rojanastatian to adopt ordinance 2022-06, amending section 1.10.020 of the Wenatchee City Code relating to office hours of certain city offices. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you,
Thank you
Carrie.
very much. Good
You bet.
evening.
Mr. Erickson, byline sculpture.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Council. Dave Erickson, Parks and Recreation Director for the city. This evening, I'm asking for your approval to accept the donation of the Byline Time sculpture from Rufus Woods and incorporate the sculpture into our city art collection. In your agenda report, I have a bunch of information about it, but it's located right outside the Wenatchee World Building. And I know Rufus is here, and I'm going to put
Rufus,
him
come
on
on
the
up.
spot
I didn't see him back there.
and ask him to come up
He's
and
hiding behind the beard.
and he can provide the background information about the sculpture instead of me reading it.
Mr. Mayor, council members, thank you for considering this. It's a bit of an end of an era for us. We've, family's been, had a building in Wenatchee since 1907, my grandfather, and then first in where the Key Bank building is now on Wenatchee Avenue, and then 1910, I moved up where part of the Liberty Theater, the Vitaphone Theater complex is, the 1910 signs there, and 1926, Christmas Eve, we moved into the property at 14 North Mission. And that property's pending sale. And so got the sculpture. I then made the mistake of saying, well, who'd want that? And so I suggested on Facebook, maybe I'll just cut it apart and do a terrible outcry from all my artistic friends. And so at any rate, if you held out a bit, I'd have probably begged you to take it. But, I've been on my knees crying, but at any rate, would love to have it be part of the city collection, and we'd love to be part of the community for many more years. So thank you for considering it.
Yeah, thank you, Rufus, and I'm glad I think it's going to end up in our hands, and it'll be in the community's hands basically for a long, long time, so.
This was discussed at the April 19th Arts Rec and Park Commission, and they recommended acceptance of it, and it was also discussed today at the Finance Committee meeting as well.
I was hoping you were going to give us the background of the title by Steve
Sure.
Blackwish.
Byline time. So these are press parts and linotype parts. These are old hot metal days, which ended up in 1971 when we were converted to offset. And so a local artist, James Stafford, who's now in Centralia, who is now quite the celebrated outdoor life sculptor. Had that, Dad commissioned it. So the press was originally a New York Times, part of the New York Times, and it was sold to the Dallas Times Herald. And my grandfather bought it third hand from the Dallas Times Herald in 1949. And so that published a newspaper till 1971, and then it was scrapped out and took the extra pieces, and that's where the sculpture was created.
I think I'm old enough to remember that, to be honest with you. 1971, yeah.
So commercial printing was still using some linotype occasionally into the 1980s. I assume that
There are a few,
are any of them around anymore?
some small shops. Charlie Voorhees did a video about one in Olympia that they do take letterpress, and then they do invitations and high quality.
Yeah.
Using, so there are a few, but not publishing newspapers anymore. It's all offset.
Yeah.
Digital print.
Yeah, it was always fascinating watching the guys assembling things.
Yeah, we would melt the paper down every night and rebuild the paper.
Yeah.
And it was a incredible process. It's an art. So anyway,
Yeah.
it's end of an era, and so we've thank you for your consideration.
Any questions for David or for Rufus? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion.
We're all going to make it.
Go for it.
Scary.
Go ahead, go Linda.
Okay. Your Honor, I move for City Council to approve the donation of the sculpture Byline Time from Rufus Woods and incorporate the sculpture into the city art collection.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Harrell, second by Councilmember Huffaker to approve the donation of the sculpture Byline Time from Rufus Woods and incorporate the sculpture into the city art collection. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Rufus. Appreciate it. Thanks all you do for the
Thank you,
city.
guys.
And
You bet. Yeah, thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
all right, Mr. Smith, opioid settlement.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Steve Smith, City Attorney. So we have before you tonight, we're seeking a motion by council to authorize the mayor to sign the One Washington Memorandum of Understanding. This relates to the topic we talked about last week related to the opioid litigation that's going on. And the purpose of this memorandum is to sign on to the settlement and the proposed distribution of funds if they do reach a settlement or some kind of resolution to the opioid litigation. And currently it pertains, they're suing 3 of the big distributors. It sounds like they might be getting close to a settlement. So they're reaching out to the cities to sign on to the agreement. The reason they want us to sign on is because in order to get the settlement, the drug companies and distributors want a global settlement. They want to know that all claims are resolved. They don't want any other claimants coming after them piecemeal. So that's why the impetus to get us to sign on. If we don't sign on, then any money would come through the county, and we may get some of it, may not. It would come through the county process. So it's really kind of it's a win-win for us. I mean, we're just signing on to the coattails of these other cities that have brought this litigation. If there's money, we'll share in it. We get 0.3%, which on a big number actually could be quite a bit of money, which would help. It has to be used for specific purposes related to the opioid crisis, but there's things that we could certainly use it for in this community related to mental health, addiction, and our police force in dealing with those issues. So that's it in a nutshell. It doesn't cost us anything out of pocket, so it really has no impact on our budget. It seems like a good deal.
And for those in the audience and those watching from home, we did have a very lengthy discussion about this last week at our work session. So the council's been up to speed on this for quite a while. So, all right, any questions for Steve? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
Your Honor, I'll make a motion for City Council to authorize the mayor to sign the One Washington Memorandum of Understanding.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Rojanowski and second by Councilmember Poyer to authorize the mayor to sign the One Washington Memorandum of Understanding. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thanks, Steve.
All right, thank you very much.
That's a delayed aye. That's a yes. It just,
It's a little delayed.
yeah, a little delay.
Thank you.
All right, so the next item on our agenda is regarding our shared scooter program with Bird Rides. So we got our Public Works folks coming up, and then this is one where I will take some public testimony, so I'm sure there's a few folks in the audience that would wish to address the council on this item, so I will take some public comments, so it's all yours.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Rob Jammerman, Public Works Director, and Anna Carr, our Public Works Admin Assistant, who's been assisting with this process over the last year and a half and been doing most of the heavy lifting here. So she's joining me up here tonight. We're, as you recall, last Thursday night, we did a presentation during our work session on the proposed Bird Scooter an agreement. And just for the audience's purpose here, we gave a full presentation last week. I'll give the highlights. We've been working on this for about a year and a half. 2021, Bird Scooters approached the city about a pilot program. We, Public Works Committee reviewed that and suggested that they return in 2022, which they've done. We've done outreach with the community, specifically with the Chamber of Commerce and the Wenatchee Downtown Association, as well as meeting with our police department to address their concerns. And the agreement that's before you tonight, should you choose to approve that, was modeled after agreement that was adopted by South Lake Tahoe. And Steve Smith and I found that agreement, and we liked the verbiage in there, and so we used that as our boilerplate and then modified it to fit Wenatchee. This is a couple of key issues on the agreement. Riders must be 18 years old and have a valid driver's license to use the scooters. The scooters, the company does have a GPS technology that can geofence or control the speed and where the scooters go, and with those, that can be modified over time as needed if should the council or the community recommend that. The scooters are managed by a private third-party fleet manager that Bird will be having a contract with here in the city. And the agreement is for 1 year. We'll reassess, should it be approved, we'll reassess in 1 year. And it does have a 30-day out clause at any time during the year where if either party wants to terminate the agreement, we can. So those are really the high points. Is there any questions of the council for Anna or I before we turn it over to the audience?
I just want to make a comment, because I probably was really not for them when I first heard about the idea, just because I've seen what's happened in other big cities. And we did get some public feedback with those kind of concerns. I think what made me more comfortable was the geofencing idea, and the idea that as you park the scooter, you take a picture of it and show that it was properly parked in a place where it's not going to be in the way. I think that kind of alleviates some of those things that I've seen. Spokane was a mess for a while. I literally tripped over a scooter in Spokane and just about hurt myself with it. And they were everywhere and they were a mess. So I think this geofencing, the way they've talked about managing the program itself, and the fact that we can terminate after 30 days made me comfortable with it.
Any comments before we hear from the public, and then we can maybe get a motion and do some of that. So let's hear from the public first. So
Thank you.
who would like to address the city council on the Bird Scooter item? Come on, Rich, don't be holding yourself back up there. Come on, get up here. I've seen you. Rich, I've seen you twice in 2 weeks. What's going on?
Well,
People are going to think we're dating or something.
yeah, too much going on around here. I just couldn't stand it, stay home.
Yeah, so sit down, give us your name and address for the record.
Okay. So, good evening, Mayor, Mr. Mayor, and council members. My name is Rich Cole, 4141 Luber Lane, Malaga. The topic is scooters. Even though I don't live in Wenatchee, I'm down here quite often, and with a considerable increase in vehicle traffic in the last 2 years or so, I don't think allowing scooters is a good idea, whether they are on the streets or the sidewalk. Maybe you can remember back when
people were complaining about the bikes on the sidewalk and the homeless. Now possibly here come the scooters. I sincerely doubt the tourists or convention people will be thinking about them, let alone watching out for them if they're on the sidewalks and coming behind them. So a safety hazard and a liability for the city. I'll also guess that most of the tourists will be at an age where scooters would be the last thing that was on their mind to ride. Yes, maybe some of the baseball, softball teams that come to town, their family members might have a slight interest, but most likely when the games were over, they would be eating dinner and visiting and to bed for the next day's game. As for the estimated $1,000 over the 6 months per the Wenatchee paper article, that might be spent. I would guess $500 would be an absolute stretch at best. Also, it could be quite a balancing act to carry anything of any size without issue and in traffic. It sounds to me like a quick way to get run over. So a huge safety issue for the city. As for that 5 cents the city is going to get for each scooter ride, again, I'll guess it will cost the police department $5 plus for the complaints they get driving around, excuse me, to catch up with the persons. This would remind me of DC annex of a losing proposition. Maybe just waiting for all those big property taxes to roll in from all the big housing developments from that bunch from the coast that are unfortunately coming here would be a way more sure and safer thing to consider. Please vote no on the scooters and be money ahead. Thank you.
Thanks, Rich. Appreciate you being here tonight.
Hey, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Anybody else wish to address the council on the bird scooter issue? Wait a sec, we'll get to you. Yeah. All right, seeing no other takers, I will turn it over to the council and we'll perhaps entertain a motion and then we can have some discussion. So,
Your Honor, I'd make a motion
Yeah.
for the city council to approve the agreement with Bird Rides and further authorize the mayor to sign the agreement.
Second.
motion by Councilmember Kulas, second by Councilmember Huffaker to approve the agreement with Bird Rides and further authorize the mayor to sign the agreement. Discussion, council members. Mr. Top, you have anything you want to add or?
Yes, just a little bit. So I share some of the safety concerns that Mr. Rich said, but for me, the way it was proposed, the benefits were, I think it was pitched as like a last mile commute type thing. And not trying to convince anyone otherwise, but I'm not fully convinced that, you know, it's going to play out like that with the age restrictions and the requirement for driver's licenses. I don't know if many people, I think the people that would need it might not be able to use it. But anyway, I'm just going to be voting no on this one. So.
Anybody else wish to have any comments before we vote? Linda, Jose, Michael?
I have a lot of concerns about this, but I keep going back to the other communities that are doing this now, and it seemed like they had a lot of concerns too. What is nice, like Councilmember Huffaker said, there is an agreement about 30 days. I would expect if this did pass that we would give it some time, not 30 days, but I think it's something that it can be evaluated and either party can withdraw from the contract. So I like that part, and I also like the idea that they have people going around, I forget what they call them.
They've got their
Fleet managers.
Fleet management.
Fleet managers, and it sounded like if you have the right fleet managers, it'll blend well with the city. So that's where I'm at on this.
Anybody else wish to say anything before we vote?
I will. I'm really on the fence about this. My first gut instinct is to vote no on it, but I will vote yes, simply because there is a 30-day out. I would hope that we would closely monitor it, and if there are serious problems, that we would discontinue it. I'm too concerned about safety and people throwing the scooters down just where they may be, but I'm willing to give it a try.
I'll guarantee you that once, if this is adopted and we get them here, every 30 or 45 days, we'll be having our staff come and talk to us at open meetings about how it's going.
I've been hearing a lot of no's on emails and messages out there, and I understand they worry about safety, and so do I. Safety comes first. But if we haven't tried out the product, how can we say no at the beginning? Keep in mind, we have 30 days to try this out. If it works out, great. If it doesn't, we'll keep it off the market. But I'm sure enough that an 18-year-old or anybody underage will see a product. You have to show ID. I think they're going to walk away with it, and they're not going to be doing any mischievous things around it. I'm all in for it. I understand there's going to be a lot of issues, but let's see the 30 days, how it goes first, and we'll see that beyond.
Mark, Keith, anything to add?
I do have one further question, actually, and that is, what are our metrics for seeing if this is successful? Is that part of what was in the Tahoe contract, was some things to look at, benchmarks to say it's doing okay and not doing okay?
As far as metrics, they'll provide us a monthly report because they're going to show us the revenue. So we'll have that as far as use. And then we're going to work closely with the police department and of course with the WDA and Chamber, hearing their comments on it. The Bird is very much in favor of working with the police department on this launch of Walk Your Wheels. And so as an example, when you rent the scooter, the Walk Your Wheels message comes up on the screen to talk about use of that. So we'll use those as feedback. And then I think we had talked about probably doing, assuming we get through the summer and which is your highest use, then perhaps doing a community survey. We could use SurveyMonkey or others about that. I would like to add, I forgot to mention earlier, I actually was in Spokane this last weekend for an event, stayed at the Davenport Hotel, parked my vehicle in their parking garage. I had to be across the river at the podium for 3 events, and so I used the scooter to get from the Davenport Hotel over to the podium for both days.
You look okay.
Yeah, that trip was about $6 to use that, but it was better than taking my car out of the garage. They pay for parking in Spokane, so I left it there. And they had areas of the Spokane Park, the riverfront park, that were geofenced. And so the scooter would drop down about 1 mile per hour in those areas. And I found that you had to go old school. So you're pushing with your foot. And I was able, my upper 50s, to get up to 6 miles per hour going old school. So,
Okay.
So anyway, that's just a story to share. And so it was convenient. I left my car in that parking garage all weekend. And so.
No, I could say a lot of things, like sometimes we just want to squelch fun around here. But I got thinking about this. The only reason that we're here is that they essentially want a franchise for using our right-of-way. If they came into town and leased private land, we wouldn't be sitting here. Or if the Arlberg or Green Bike or Trek started a rental program, a point to point, we wouldn't be here. So I just want to point that out. We wouldn't be here except they want to use our right of way. It's a franchise. So we wouldn't, Bird could, and let's face it, this may not work out for Bird. It might not be a good fit for them, but we'll never know if we don't do this.
All right, Councilmember Hornby, anything to add? Not even sure he's on the line anymore, to be honest with you. I heard a beep.
I'm on mute, but I will be voting yes.
All right, thank you. Anything else, Top?
No, I hope it works out. My whole thing is, like, we talk about old school, we talk about Arlberg and our kind of cycling culture, that we're still getting feedback on how to make better every day. But we're skipping the rental bike thing, going straight to scooters. For me, I'm just, I hope it works out. I personally, I'm not convinced yet with the information provided, so I'm going to vote no.
All right, any other comments? All right, so we have a motion, we have a second, we've had discussion. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-1. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Anna. Thanks for all your work. Thanks, Rob. All right. Item E, bid award for Kinsey's Landing, Project 18-1247. Charlotte.
Hello. Yeah, so we had the bid opening for, this is the actual trailhead project itself, not the road to it. So we had our bid opening the other day. It was great. We had 7 bidders. The low bidder was Olin Excavation. They're within budget. If you look at the agenda report, we're doing a little bit of moving around of funds from some projects that aren't going to get spent this year. And so we have managed to make it so that our budget balances. So we took it to finance. We're not asking for any more money at this time. And if you approve this, we could start construction as early as May 16th.
How long do you anticipate this taking?
It will take most of the summer between that and then the extension. So I wouldn't be super optimistic that it would be open this year for use, maybe a month at best, because then we have the mule deer shut down. So then, any sort of maybe ribbon cutting should maybe be in the spring. But I believe Mr. Clennon is here if he would like.
All right, Bart, you want to come up? For those of you that don't know, Bart donated the property where the Kinsey's Landing Trailhead is going to be in memory of his daughter. So
Thank you, sir.
He's been intricately involved in this. So Bart, nice to see you.
Well, nice to be here, and thank you. I didn't put together any written comments. I wasn't sure what to expect and what I should say, but what I'd like to say is from McKinsey, the Clennon family, and all of her friends, we can't express enough thank you for what all of this has done. A part of the process was we were proud to be able to donate some land for a good cause, and we didn't have Kinsey's name on the list at all to be where it is, but all of you that were involved and worked so hard on it made that happen, and we just are very, very appreciative. She was a very special young lady that, I don't know, I've led a dream life except for that event, and it just, but I do know that if she could be standing right here, and she's listening to us up there, but she'd be saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. And the thing I always think she's telling me is, Dad, I wished I was there, but I'm not, but you need to go on with life and live it as best you can. But anyway, I can't thank all of you enough for the things you've done, to make this happen, and it's going to be a very special part in our hearts forever.
Looking forward to a ribbon cutting here in the fall.
Yes, well, we do too, and
Yeah.
I'm so proud of our city. There's so many things that I could talk on and on about it that are taking place, but our daughter married a guy from Salt Lake City, and we went down there years and years ago and got on the trails. We didn't have many trails here then, and it's interesting how meaningful and important those trails become as a part of life. You end up with many, many people going, and to have these places to take off from just enhances that. So I think you're making this is a very good move in terms of enhancing our community. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Really, we appreciate it.
Thanks, Bart.
Yeah, thank you, Bart.
All right, any questions for Charlotte? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Charlotte, I do just have one question about, because that trail is used so much now, is there going to be some kind of a bypass put in while the construction is going on to allow people to continue to use it, or?
No, just for safety, we really couldn't figure out a way to get folks through it. So we're really hoping maybe they, sadly, maybe get in their car and go down, to a different trailhead. It is going to be kind of a bummer for the folks that live right there. But really, we just can't have them trekking through, where we have bulldozers and that sort of thing operating. So it's short-term pain for long-term gain.
Yeah, I was just hoping there was some other bypass route that was close by or something.
Yeah, not.
I know you can go clear up to Horse Lake and get there, but that's quite a loop then.
Yeah, so I've been working with the land trust, and we're going to have signs up that say, hey, the trail's closed ahead. You can't go all the way to Maiden Lane. So we will have notification of that. But yeah, unfortunately, there's just not a great way to do that.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
All right, any other questions? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Your Honor, I move for City Council to authorize the mayor to sign a contract with Olin Excavation in the amount of $974,435.70 for the construction of the Kinsey's Landing project.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Harold, second by Councilmember Kulas, I believe.
Yes.
To authorize the mayor to sign a contract with Olin Excavation in the amount of $974,435.70 for the construction of the Kinsey's Landing project. Any discussion?
I'm just going to say it's nice to see people think of the bigger picture. And that's what you did.
Thank you.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Bart.
Well,
Thanks, Charlotte.
I can't say thank you enough times.
David Erickson,
it's,
thank you for bringing us some RCO money. He does.
Well,
Yeah.
it takes a team.
Yeah.
Things don't happen with one individual. It takes a whole group, and you guys are a part of that group. And anyway, thank you.
Okay, thanks,
Thank
Bart.
you, Bart.
All right. South Wenatchee Safety Improvement Project, 1911. Mr. Jammerman.
Good evening again. Mayor and Council, Rob Jammerman, Public Works Director here on behalf of our CIP engineers. So I'm going to make this quick. The good news here is this is improving 5 intersections with ADA compliant ramps, and we're doing some bump out work. The original project received a grant of $225,000, and the city was going to contribute $118,000. So the original budget that was adopted was $343,000. Last year, we learned that the state was going to give us more money for the project, so it increased the budget to $390,000 total, but it lowered the city contribution to $24,000. So we're building the project all in, design, construction, everything is $390,000, but the city's contribution is only $24,000 versus $118,000, and the bid that we received from Rudnick was only 1% over the engineering estimate. So there's a lot of good news there, a lot of good things happening. I'll answer any question you might have, but we're recommending approval of this and approval of the budget amendment, which was presented to Finance Committee this afternoon.
I'm just really happy to say that's going to happen right there. It's one of the main streets down to the park and down to the school. There's residents that live around that area that do have ADA regulations, so thank you.
All right, any questions for Rob? Again, this went through the Finance Committee today, so I would entertain a motion.
And I make a motion for City Council to approve the project budget amendment and further pending WSDOT concurrence that the City Council award the construction contract for the South Wenatchee Safety Improvements Project, City Project number 1911 to Rudnick and Sons LLC, and authorize the mayor to sign the contract documents.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Rojanastati and second by Councilmember Cuevas to approve the project budget amendment and further pending WashDOT concurrence, the City Council award the construction contract for the South Wenatchee Safety Improvement Project, City Project 1911 to Rudnick and Sons LLC, and authorize the mayor to sign the contract documents. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Rob. Aaron Kelly, Parkside, Pinnacles.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. Aaron Kelly, Public Works Operations Manager. First item I have tonight for you is an authorization or requesting authorization for the mayor to negotiate and sign a professional services agreement for the Parkside Place renovation project number 2206. The Parkside facility is city-owned property located at 1230 Monitor. The facility serves as a resource for housing and behavioral health service or treatment. Last November, the city was awarded grant funding from the Department of Commerce to make these repairs throughout the property. The professional services agreement is the first step in starting this project. We have gone through a request for qualifications process and selected, and through a selection committee, evaluated 2 qualified firms, and we selected Forsgren and Associates. Financially, the costs associated with this agreement will be reimbursed through the grant. We have an aggressive schedule, and if approved, we hope to have the consultant on board to prepare bid documents and cost estimates this summer, and with construction starting in the fall, the planned completion for this project would be April of next year. Do you have any questions for me on this one?
I never thought we'd get to the point to start spending some state money on that. It's been a long time coming, so I'm excited to get this project started and get that building closer to finished. Any questions for Mr. Kelly? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Your Honor, I make a motion for the City Council to authorize the mayor to negotiate and sign a professional service agreement with Forsgen Associates Incorporated for the Parkside Place renovation project number 2206.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Huffaker, second by Councilmember Poyer to authorize the mayor to negotiate and sign a professional services agreement with Forsgren and Associates Incorporated for the Parkside Place renovation project number 2206. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Pinnacles Prep. We've got 2 items for them.
Yes, the first is the second addendum/amendment agreement to Pinnacles Prep lease. In January of last year, 2021, the city and Pinnacles Prep entered into a lease for the city property located at 504 South Chelan. The initial term outlined was a 6-year lease. With the most recent acceptance of the $2.5 million Department of Commerce grant for the renovations on the property, we wanted to align the Pinnacles Prep lease with the terms of the grant contract. As the grant contract requires that facility to be held and used for a 10-year period for purposes of supporting innovative educational opportunities and for local students and the surrounding community. If approved, this amendment would extend the lease to a total of 12 years and starting again in 2021, but ending in 2033. Any questions on the lease amendment?
As we talked about at Finance, this is something that's not unusual to the city, that we'll have one of our agencies that is leasing buildings from us or using buildings from us get a grant award from Commerce or somebody else. And the terms of that grant might be for 10 or 15 years. And so it's not uncommon for us to adjust our lease agreements to meet that. We did it with the museum not that long ago. We've done it with other organizations. So this is somewhat similar in those regards. But as Councilmember Poyer said, you know, if Pinnacle's ups and leaves, then we're maintaining a building back sort of the way it was when it was our community center. Any questions for Aaron? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I make a motion for City Council to approve the second addendum amendment to the long-term facility lease with Pinnacles Prep and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Ojanastati and second by Councilmember Cuevas to approve the second addendum amendment to the long-term facility lease with Pinnacles Prep and authorize the mayor to sign the agreement. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. And the last item for you, Mr. Kelly.
Yes, is the professional services agreement between the city and the DOH Associates for the city project number 2112, Pinnacles Prep Improvements Phase 1.5A. So this really just starts the consultant agreement so that we can move forward with trying to be able to get a contractor on board and start the project. With the previously mentioned grant, the construction will renovate instructional spaces, a new campus entrance, as well as construction and furnishing of a commercial kitchen, cafeteria, and maker space. In November of 2021, a selection committee evaluated 3 consultant firms' qualifications and selected the DOH Associates as a preferred design consultant to provide the architectural and engineering services for this renovation in phase. Financially, again, the compensation shall not exceed $119,795 plus reimbursable expenses, which will all be reimbursed through the terms of the Department of Commerce grant. Some of the preliminary work has already been started, and the project is scheduled to be completed no later than June 30th of next year. Any questions?
This money gets reimbursed through the grant.
Correct. Yep.
Continue to spend the state's money. It's better than ours, right? Spend as much of it as they'll give us. Any questions for Aaron? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Your Honor, I move for City Council to approve the professional services agreement with DOH Associates and authorize the mayor's signature for city project number 2112- Pinnacles Prep Charter School Phase 1.5A.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Harold, second by Councilmember Kulas, to approve the professional services agreement with DOH and Associates and authorize the mayor's signature for city project number 2112, Pinnacle Prep Charter School Phase 1.5A. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Aaron.
All right, thank you.
Appreciate it. Jenny Rayson's not here. You don't look like Jenny. Rob, you doing the last one? All right.
Good evening again.
Welcome back.
Yeah. Rob Jammerman, Public Works Director. Tonight, we're here to request the council's approve or establish a time to conduct a public hearing for a proposed street vacation and to pass resolution number 2022-16. This is the second chapter of a property deal that we've been working with Gary Noyes down on Mission and well, they're at the interchange. And so we just to give you a high overview for some of the council member, we purchased some property from Department of Transportation that's down there on the south end, and then in turn we sold it to Gary Noyes, who owns the car wash and several commercial properties there. And now, if you've noticed in your packet, this is the last piece of that is to vacate a little piece of alley right away between the parcels that he owns, so that he has one large parcel to redevelop. We've been working with him. He's got all of his agreements into us, legal descriptions. We were working with Steve Smith, and we're recommending that you'll hear more at the presentation on the hearing on the 26th of May. We're using the dollar value of the land that we used in the appraisal when we bought that from Department of Transportation and in turn sold it to Mr. Noyes. So,
What was that, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000?
Mayor,
Wasn't it like 11,000 something?
it's $388 a square foot, and I
Okay.
don't remember if we put that. We will have that in the packet
That's fine.
on the 26th.
Okay. This too has been a long process, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So tonight, you're not asking for approval of the alley vacation, you're asking to set a public
Set the
hearing where
hearing.
we would discuss
Our
that.
vacations are a two-part process. Set the hearing, then the hearing.
It's the same process if you own an insurance company to get a vacation. It's a two-part process, isn't it?
Well, with that, I'll make a motion for the city council to pass resolution number 2022-16, setting date relative to vacation of street and/or alley.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Poyer, second by Councilmember Harold, to adopt resolution 2022-16, setting a date relative to vacation of a street and/or alley. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Rob.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Mayor's report. I'm not exactly sure what to add tonight. As you know, Apple Blossom started today at noon. Food fair is open. I did Chief for a Day today, which is always just a really wonderful event. And thanks to our police department and all of our first responders for being there, and recognized 8 young men and women who have some sort of physical needs. And so that was just a really amazing day. I think other than that, I will say this. I did meet with Woody from the Performing Arts Center, and so we'll be having some conversations with them going forward as we're starting to remodel the convention center, and whether or not the Performing Arts Center thinks about giving us the building so that we can keep it up and keep it going, since it's already part of our convention center already. So we've had some conversations about that. Finance Committee talked about it. We'll bring it to Public Works here pretty quick too, to discuss and see how that all comes together. And I'll say this, it's been nice to see people in the audience today. Nice that we got to see Rufus and Bart, and good conversation on bird scooters. And I sort of feel like we're sort of back doing what city government does after, it's been a long time since we've had, maybe I'm just getting old and nostalgic, but I think that this was a great meeting. I enjoyed every bit of it. Council members, anything to add?
My last RiverCom meeting was kind of eye-opener for me. I'm alternate to Travis, and it's interesting to see Douglas County, Chelan County, City of Wenatchee, East Wenatchee, the technology, how far somebody can be behind. So Douglas County's been giving radios to Chelan County for parts, so Chelan County could keep on communicating. And it's just gotten so far behind compared to everybody else. So the board decided, even just for temporary, $100,000 at least to get Chelan County up to speed so they can participate. Or it's a safe, it really is a safety issue.
Yeah.
So that was good news that we're at least looking at it.
Yeah.
I thought that was called budgeting.
Budgeting, yeah, they do 25,000.
ER&R funds.
Yeah.
Yeah, for equipment rental and replacement.
Yeah, they've been off, and then there's a 25,000, but they're so far behind, they just can't, they need some help to get it to happen.
Yeah.
Well, I've been in 2 committees this week. One of them was the disability, and I'm sure Mark will speak more about that. I don't know if it's private or not to say what we do there. It's but we did a motion for one of our long-term care patients. The second one was the homeless task force. It was really interesting hearing there's a new Hope Source. It's an online application, and it helps to serve the needs of the individuals, the homeless. We track down what they need, and we help them with resources, getting food, shelter, hotels, motels. So it's an entry data that it's going to be used in the future to track down the homeless.
Oh, good.
It's going to be a nice process, and hopefully by this summer we'll do another count of how many homeless we have in our valley.
Mark, Keith, Linda, anything for the good of the order?
Pretty good council or chamber meeting.
Okay.
We all got to meet Steve.
Yep.
I had to call in for that one, but not a lot of new stuff, a lot of introductions mostly, so.
Good.
He's requested a meeting just to kind of get to know everybody, I think, so.
Yeah, and he'll be meeting with us, I think, on a monthly basis, it looks like, over the next 4 or 5 months. You know, their contract is up, so we've got lots of conversations to have with the chamber over the next 3 or 4 months. So we do not meet next week. So I think the next time we meet would be on May the 12th. So everybody have a happy and safe apple blossom. Rumor was there was a couple of chairs out on the streets today. I haven't been out to see it, but someone said there was a few, so.
They're anxious to reserve, huh?
Okay, yeah. Remember what it was when we first started, Mark?
Jeez.
February they were putting them out.
Yeah. I still like Mr. Smith's comment that when he brought that ordinance to us, he said, hey, wait a minute, I figured out how I could get rid of my old furniture.
All right, everybody, we're adjourned. Thank you.